Check out my cat-like reflexes, as in this episode I faced trouble configuring a makeshift long-range Wi-Fi connection, deal with equipment failure, and become an entry-level electrician. Okay, today we're gonna try to do at least a bit of setting up my brand new fangled internet doohickey gizmo. This is it right here. It's basically a Wi-Fi booster. This is going to be put way up high on top of a PVC pipe, 10-foot long PVC pipe out there. It's gonna be, I've ordered a couple, or a suction cup that will basically clamp onto the PVC pipe out there, stand up tall, super tall, and it will, hopefully you can see that, by being super tall out there, standing up that way, ideally be able to get much better reception of local Wi-Fi signal. We're talking like maybe half-mile to mile range if it's high enough and the equipment set up correctly. So I'm gonna set that up, and then what I have to do is wire it. I will pretty much use electric tape to wire it all the way down along there, and then through this open gap that we've covered previously in the window. Wire it in this way and down right into here, and this is the router essentially, which is I've already plugged it in over here with wiring down here, which fortunately for tall people isn't very visible. Hopefully no short people hang out here. These ducks are joining me while I'm trying to put up my Wi-Fi connection. There it is. Hey little duckies. Wanna come up? You guys wanna stream some movies? Hang out with me? You wanna eat some algae? Aw. I'd adopt them. If I could. They hang out here. Maybe I'll find some snacks for them. Alright, y'all come back now. That's my Wi-Fi little setup here. I'm going to get some suction cup to put it right there eventually. But right now it's duct taped to some of the piping, part of the bimini. And I'm setting up all the wiring to go down to the inside. We'll get a little close up. There's our duck friends again. Here's where it came down. You see that? Gave myself a little extra slack here. Hopefully when the wire is a bit tighter, I'll be able to tape this down a little more effectively, but I'm not going to worry too much right now. Technically it's all waterproof anyway, the USB cord and everything. But it'll run up and over here, and then it'll just stand up right here. And this right here looks like it's a success. It's Alfa Network, a little program that hears all the Wi-Fi signals it can read, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 of them are above 50% signal strength. Not sure exactly that number pertains to, but that's a good sign, I believe. That means, who knows, maybe I could catch a Starbucks from a mile away with this thing. Filo. You might notice that there's a J in there, and that seems weird. And that's because I'm pronouncing it kulung, where the last N sounds like an NG, sort of. It's basically like you swallow the N. Well, in Mandinka, kulung has this little lip at the end, so I'm going to cut off part of the J, and the N will have a little hook there, like an NG, essentially. But you're basically swallowing the NG noise in Mandinka. Kulung means boat. Kulung filo. Boat lost at sea. So what I'm going to do, since it has to go on both sides of the transom on the back, because there's a door in the middle, I'm putting kulung, the first word, on one side, and filo on the other side. Nobody's going to get it anyway. Nobody speaks Mandinka but me. Alright, so we did it. You see there, the name of the boat? Kulung filo. It was a not perfect effort, but we got it done, and I think from a good distance it looks totally fine. You get up close, and it's interesting, I did the second word first, and it was actually considerably more successful, but we'll get up close in each of these words. I'm not sure you can see it, but there's some bubbles in there that didn't quite get worked out, which kind of disappoints me, but it was kind of an awkward little position to do anything on, so that's okay. And then, as you can see, the N at the end has a little hook for the ng sound. Kulung filo. But yeah, I kind of had to carve up a little bit of that, which honestly doesn't look too bad. I'm actually pretty comfortable with that. And filo, pretty much right on. There's some, I think, inevitable bubbles in there, but I don't think this is going anywhere. Alright, so we're putting the last little piece on here for the this guy here, the internet setup. This is a super powered suction cup that's going to stick on the outside, and hopefully be more ideal than the ghetto fix I have here of duct tape. So hopefully I get this on and nothing falls off the side of the boat. But as you can see, this thing goes way up. It's about 10-foot pole. So it's actually been very effective. It's gotten me a much stronger signal for my internet, which is important for being able to work. But now I'm going to secure it more firmly on the side of the boat. Got to tape up all the wiring from my newly perfected Wi-Fi connection cord here. It goes up 10 feet and it's going to flow straight into the building here. Doing this carefully. If it was 1 second later, the antenna would have shattered on the edge of the dock. Let's rewind and see that again. Unfortunately, the suction cup turned out to be completely ineffective, but I was fortunate enough to be right there when it failed, so I used my cat-like reflexes to save the day. Step in no direction today. Just reapplied the tape on the PVC pipe, and I guess I can now return the suction cup piece of junk that didn't work. Ooh. Almost done with this leveling project. All right, so essentially how this will work is this side will be tied onto a cleat here, and or perhaps in the middle of the boat there, the next one up, but it'll be looped in through that, tied around the outside, and then I'll throw one over on each side. But you see, it's a string of 3 1-pound orange weights and then a 8-pound anchor, essentially, that on either side of the boat should level it out. At least that's the hope. Hopefully get to take out the weekend in the next take the boat out this weekend and try it out.
It's all the same, like some things never change. I couldn't stop and say no. It's all the same, but you won't take the blame, even when you are blowing up. Oh my, you're my broken love. Nobody's gonna save her now. Oh my, you're my broken love. So come on, let me show you how.
All right, so under the, oh God, it stinks. Under the floor of my bed here, it looks like the bilge pump is not draining. That is underwater right there. It's never reassuring to see wiring underwater. So I'm going to try to figure out what the issue is, but there's clearly mold and nasty stuff down here that I need to address. Oh shoot, and clean up all this carpet afterward. But that's my project for today, figuring out why the bilge pump is not pumping. All right, well, I'm now emptied my 5-gallon jug of water, and I'm using a cup to slowly bilge myself out of this situation. Pouring 1 cup at a time into here and taking it out and throwing it overboard. So I've gotten maybe an inch of room in there now. I think it'll take, I don't know, 2 or 3 more buckets full until I can uncover the wiring and hopefully assess what's actually wrong with this bilge pump. But I just kind of determined that it's probably not going to switch back on until I can assess what it looks like down there. This thing is supposed to go up, and when you hear that click, it's supposed to activate the bilge pump, which it's not. So I'm guessing this is broken, or somewhere in the wiring something's not connected. So I've been as busy disassembling this room. There's the old shower sump pump, which I actually cleaned the filter on again because I'm a pro at that now. But I've kind of just been completely taking apart this room to figure out what's wrong with this bilge pump. And I was emptying water from here for a while, and then I realized this problem's probably a lot bigger and everything's dirty, and I might want to just replace the floorboards and now the carpet, because essentially the water filled all the way up to where you see that line is, and it's soaked through the floorboards, these guys up here, and so these are all wet. The carpet is all wet. Some of the carpet's really looking nasty, and so I think I might just replace a lot of the carpet. Just for an image of what the bilge water looks like, this is what lived, or at least lived, on the bottom of my boat. Looks tasty, right? So I'm able to get it to run when I hit the manual switch on the helm, but this white thingy here, this is supposed to make it run when the boat's stable. So I need to figure out how to fix that switch, and I'm guessing it's because of the wiring, so I might have to do some wiring work here. Or at least figure out how to do wiring work. Here is the new pump. I am hopeful to get to work. You'd dream if it did without any serious issues. We'll know if that worked soon, hopefully. But I need to figure out how to connect this guy, pull the wiring off, and pull this guy out, and then see if I can get this guy to work effectively with this switch. They should work together. Okay, now I'm gonna switch the power back on, and we're gonna give this baby right here a test. All right, fingers crossed. Switch works from the outside. So, if it works from the inside, we're done. If it doesn't, then we gotta check the wiring. And it doesn't. Fuck. All right. Well, that would suggest it's the wiring between this guy and the pump. Well, the pump works. It's the wiring that is the issue. And so I need to figure out how to address what's wrong with the wiring. And I'm going to have to do some research to do that. Okay, I have a new theory, which is just that, it's a theory, that the float switch was never working. I'm saying that because, so the yellow wire coming in is the positive, which then feeds into this little splitter here. This yellow wire feeds into this splitter. And as it was set up before, one of these brown wires would go to the switch, and then it would go into this thingy here. And this thingy, I don't know what it is. It's not wire, it's some green, some red cable, but it looks like, I don't know, it looks like rust. It's not focusing, but that thingy right there, I don't know what that is. And it didn't feed directly to it. It fed through this piece, this guy right here, but it came from being wire on this end, on that end, and then it fed into whatever this green nonsense is. And so it doesn't make sense to me. And I when I track this wire, it looks like it goes back underneath and over here, and I believe it's this right here. It comes out, one of these wires continues back, and another one is nothing. And so I get the feeling that we're connected to nothing, and I don't know why, but it's taking whatever the positive is that goes into the float switch and feeding it straight to the negative rather than back to the positive feed into the pump. So after some fun going back and forth, I'm hoping to finally get this worked out now. I'm pretty sure what's going on is that the pump never worked, or the switch for the pump never worked. And based on what I've seen in the wiring, there's just some extra wires that are entirely unnecessary, and some wires that were not connected. And so, fingers crossed, I can get this to connect to the pump, and then I'll test both the pump and the bilge via the pump via the helm, as well as through the switch. Position where it's touching. That means if the switch is switched on and I connect the pump to the other end of the switch wire, then we should have a complete circuit and the pump will work. So it won't work when I touch these two here, but if I hold the switch up and I touch them together, did it! Awesome. And the rest is just cleanup. Well, floorboards, carpet, but cleaning up all the electrical stuff. Here is the damage. All these different pieces went into experimenting and figuring out how electrics work. And it worked successfully. We did it. A lot of crimped wires, stripped wires, cut pieces, and various other items in there. And we have a finished product. The pump, as you remember, is right there, all fixed. I can go switch it on up top, or the switch will switch it on once there's too much water in. I can still get in here and access my shower pump, as you remember. Replaced the carpeting in here, made this piece here more secure. It used to fall down a lot. And I can restore this room. It's a job well done, and it took a couple days. But well worth it, and it was educational, so I'm happy. Oh, hey there. I didn't see you there. I guess I can take advantage of this to answer some questions. I know that in my filming, some of you guys had posed some questions on the chat board or to me personally, and just wanted to clarify. Not too many yet, but I think the major one was why I'm doing this and how. And essentially, there was a big, obviously coronavirus happened around March, or at least blew up then. And so I looked at the whole scenario. I realized that I was there, had to break up with a girlfriend, and my boss works there. He lives in London, and so while the company I work for is in Austin, Texas, I recognized that I'd talked to multiple people in multiple instances about where do you see yourself when you retire, and I realized that the answer I always gave to that question was perhaps just joking around, but saying I dream of living on a boat someday and traveling from place to place, and as soon as I want to go on, then I move on. But if you make the boat your home, you can live wherever you want to. And so with this whole confluence of all these different events, I realized that that's not actually that far off. I could actually, with a couple adjustments, like having this giant setup here with my computers and everything, I could feasibly work from a boat. And as long as I make sure I always have a strong, reliable internet connection, I do digital marketing, and so this is entirely doable. So I asked around, I talked to my bosses and got it all cleared, and that's what brought us here. Oh, and one last note, I want you guys to, if you have any questions about anything, like why haven't I started fishing yet, the answer to that is I'm not entirely sure where to start, but I have the equipment. But if you have any questions, please post them. I will try to answer them, and ideas, thoughts, anything. I'm listening, and I'm here on an adventure with you all the same. It's all new to me too, so feel free to ask.